Modern here at Grey Ogre
What an
Games.
auspicious start there, Alpian.
Yes. Today we have Brian Lim versus Felix Pels. I'm Alfian Poon, joined by the great Joe himself.
Now you know we are short-handed.
Yeah,
Joe has
yeah.
to come out.
Yeah,
I
Joe.
have to crawl out of my cave to do casting.
Yeah. Wow. That's a very comfy cave. I saw your cave. So today we have Brian Lim Chen and Felix Pels. Both of them, they told me they're playing new decks that they have not played before.
Well, I think that's going to be the trend, right, for today. And last week I wasn't here. Was the banning was only in effect. The unbanning was only in effect last Friday. Was that right?
Yes.
Right. So this is the first daily event that we've had that is with the new modern, right?
Yes, that is true.
Okay, so it's going to be very interesting. Oh, here we go.
Oh no, it's
Here we go. Default to the old faithfuls. I think this was one of the first decks that Brian played when he first started
definitely. This is,
playing modern.
So I remember Brian Lim. He very first started with this A-Rec deck. Then he transitioned to Burn.
The burn, yeah.
It's been a long time since he started modern.
It's a good deck, and I mean honestly, this is one of the decks that new players can get into quickly.
Yeah, they can go under the radar.
It's relatively cheap.
Yeah.
It's a deck that it doesn't cost a lot to build.
Well, Liliana costs a bit.
Yeah, but I think honestly, if you did without Liliana, you should be fine.
That's true. But here we see the legendary, the very, very standard turn 1 rack. And
good play.
Very impressive play. We're probably going to see the turn 2 smallpox. The better play.
No him to Turak. Sucks.
Oh no. But Felix is gonna go off with the scavenging ooze. So smallpox here is gonna be really good. Gonna take out one of the lands. I think the one thing that 8-Rack really got from the recent sets is one of the additions is Death Real, the Shadow Roach. I think Shadow Rook. Some of the decks turn into 10-Rack because of that card.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if Brian is playing the 10th rack, the 9th and the 10th rack version, but this smallpox putting in a lot of value.
Yeah.
Managing to remove the scavenging ooze as well as the lands and the discard.
Yeah.
Oh, he discarded Call of Calling. This seems to be some sort of Abzan Coco deck, or is it green-white?
It's got potential. I think now perhaps there's some space for it to come on back.
Yeah, I also play this deck.
Honestly, I think that a lot of players would default to known quantities. So I would think things like affinity, hard skills affinity didn't really. Yeah, I think those things will start to. People default back to the old faithfuls.
And because back then things were stronger, right? You have the Hogak deck, the Faithless Looting decks, the Dredge. Even before Hardened Skills had his spotlight, there was Dredge, which slowly crept up and became more favored than the Hardened Skills deck. Now that Faithless Looting is gone, we'll most likely see Hardened Skills, as you mentioned, and other decks which don't rely on Faithless Looting to come back into the mix.
I'm hearing us. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh, sorry. I should probably mute that. It's normally muted.
Okay.
Okay.
Double rack.
Alright, double rack. Pretty good, and he already discarded 2 cards. I think the one thing 8-Rack has going for it is normally when you're playing against 8-Rack deck, you have to manage your resources very well because you're most likely going to play 2 cards a turn. You play 1 land and you play a card. Then when it's 8-Rack turn, they just discard your card and then you're starting down 3 cards, which makes you go down on cards really fast.
Yeah, so it's very interestingly countered to. That's that devoted druid.
Yeah, this looks like.
Yeah, so it's gonna be like a Abzan combo-ish thing.
Oh, and he takes out the
collector company is great. Yeah.
I wonder if he remembers his trigger. Oh, he does. Very cool. 4 damage going to Felix. So Felix now needs 2 cards. He needs a card that gets Vizier and a payoff for the infinite mana.
Yeah, but I think that's difficult right now. He's already discarded a card. He's already discarded a collector company.
Yeah.
So it's probably 6 cards left plus the Viziers. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this might be Kitchen Finks. Is it Kitchen Finks? Kitchen Finks is actually a really good card against the 8-Rack deck, from my experience.
It is if you have a sacrifice outlet. Okay, but the witness to
Oh, okay.
collector company and not court. That's interesting.
Yeah, I would have wanted to take the Call of Calling because then you're guaranteed to get the Vizier. But maybe he wants to gamble a bit, get Vizier and the Dustwatch Recruiter.
Yeah.
Because Collector Company does get you 2 cards instead of just 1. I think over here he's going to Death Real. Oh, so he does play Death Real. Okay. Hmm. Just bring it up.
Mm.
Is that how you spell Death Real? Yes, it is how you spell Death Real. Interesting. Someone screwed that up. Okay, let's
Great preparation there. Excellent work.
target player discards a card -1. Okay.
It's basically one of the uncommon wall the Spark Planeswalkers. And yeah, it's just essentially it's like a mini rack.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a fewer, then what's I think fewer.
One
Or fewer, you get 2 damage. So less maximum potential, but easier to trigger.
Yeah, and also a
And
planeswalker
here we
itself.
go,
So
Liliana. I think discards the 1 card in his hand. Felix has 1 card.
yeah,
No, he has 2.
cards.
Right,
Okay, this guy's another devoted druid. That's fine.
right. And so now he has the Collector Company.
Okay, I think this is where
Interesting.
Brian is in a pretty not very good spot.
Well, no, I don't know. I think if he whiffs on this Collector Company, has the gamer. So he has to
True,
hit,
true.
and he has to hit like relevant things.
I think he hit Kitchen Finks and something.
Yeah, the things is not gonna save him for long.
Yeah, that's true. But it's end stat though. He's probably gonna kill off the. Oh no,
What is the
but his
second
life
piece?
is very low. He's at 9.
Yeah. So I mean, he has like a turn
Mm-hmm.
if he doesn't deal with the things. Or if he can't deal with his own things, he's got a
Mm.
turn. 3 life.
Top deck 1 time.
Nope.
Oh. Well, I don't think there was anything that could have saved him either way.
Viserys here can buy him a turn, I think.
Actually, if
No,
it's-
actually it doesn't even buy him
Yeah,
a turn.
no, it doesn't. I think the decks now play a carry on field instead of Viserys
fee-
here.
Yeah. I don't know, I like the Sky effect.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Sky effect in a combo deck seems to make a lot more sense.
And yeah, Brian takes the first
Yeah.
game. I think if you're not very prepared or you don't know how to play around the rack effects, you're kind of doomed to lose to it.
No, I don't know. I think that it's just a deck that attacks the format in a very one dimensional way, but it does it in a very brute force manner. So if your deck is susceptible to hand disruption, which any kind of Coco calling deck, when you're trying to piece things together, right, yeah, it's very susceptible to discard. I would say that actually like Felix's draws were fairly decent. At least he had access to a Collector Company, access to
That's true. That's true.
a court.
He did e-wit back the Collector Company. I think
Yeah.
the value game against 8 rack is very, very important.
I'm actually very interested to know what's in his deck because I think in that critical turn when he Eternal Witness and got the Collector Company, he could have gotten the court. Would the court have gotten him like a way to deal with the Rex?
That's
Because
true.
like if he has like Kazali Pride Mage in his main board, or if he has
Actually, I don't think they play Kasali Pride Mage anymore.
yeah, so I don't. There usually is one solution. Like Knight of Autumn doesn't deal with it, right? Because Knight of Autumn is only enchantments, if I remember correctly.
I think I'm pretty sure it's both
Yeah.
enchantment and artifact, but let me check.
I know. Like Jin Hao had this thing in the Pro Tour where it was the wrong one. So I don't know whether it's the
Yeah, it's artifact and
artifact enchantment. Yeah, so I think like at least it would be like a Knight of the
yeah.
Autumn.
These decks normally do play a Knight of Autumn. It is
Yeah.
a very versatile card. But actually,
And yeah, there would be other options like Reclamation Sage or something to that effect where you would be able to deal with at least one and buy yourself a little bit more time.
actually, if I'm not wrong, the deck should also have access to Shalai. Would Shalai give would Hexproof be enough against the rack?
Well, I think like Shalai was hard to court for in that situation because he had 3 lands in play and 2 creatures.
That's
right?
true. That's true. He'll need two more
Yeah, so
mana.
2 lands he could basically court for 3 fairly confidently the next turn. Right. So if you could do that, then yeah, I figure that at least you would get yourself a situation where you would be able to deal with at least one of the racks, and then like work from there. Yeah, because if not, then you either have to combo off or nothing. It's combo or bust. So maybe that was
Right.
his thought process going into it. It's combo or bust.
Right, and I think if you play this deck a bit longer, you realize that this deck has other ways to deal with. It's not just a one-dimensional attack, just like 8, right? This deck has many ways to win. It has it can play fair even in the main board.
Yeah, go white.
Yeah, go wide,
Just
just
face.
create a lot of value,
Yeah.
and you get those very big beaters like maybe Shalai main board or Sigada. Some decks do play Sigada.
Yeah, but I suppose that was like a very good expression of like what the Iraq deck does well.
That's true. That's true.
Land, rack, discard.
Removal,
Yeah. Lose
occasional
already.
smallpox.
If you don't lose, I lose.
Yeah, Iraq was also my first deck, and I didn't really have a good experience with it.
Yeah, because I think that like you don't really have a lot of maneuverability. Like Ben likes to talk about like like decks that give you space to play. I think
Right.
that 8-rec doesn't really give you that space to play.
No,
So
no, this is a
yeah, I would actually think that Burn is a lot more complex a deck to play than 8-rec. But I mean, okay, like, I mean, like 8-rec pilots are probably going to be flaming the stream now.
that
Where
that
is the where is the where are the comments? On
that's
the
probably not
stream?
gonna happen because A-Rec players don't exist.
Hey, are you saying that Brian doesn't exist?
Brian's not A-Rec player.
Well, he's playing it now, right?
Okay, so looks like Felix has decent plays. Oh, that's the chat is right there. We have 12 people watching us right now.
12 people.
Say hi to the say hi to the 12 people.
Hello, all 12 people who are watching us. Ask
Actually-
your friends to come and watch.
Actually, maybe
So-
11 because it counts us too.
All right, yeah. Let's count 10 to be safe.
Yeah, but actually 10 at this point of time is actually not bad. Not that bad.
Yeah, it's 8 p.m. I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
better things to watch, right?
Like yeah, I don't know.
NCIS. or something,
NCIS,
I don't know. Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah, anything. Sorry, corporate promotion. This is not a sponsor.
No, we're not sponsored. We're only sponsored by Great Ogre Games. 069451 A3 Club Street. Please come and visit us.
Sure. Thanks. Don't send us bombs.
Oh, okay. Oh, Turn 1 Giver of Runes is a very, very good play, I think.
Yeah.
Does protect the Vizier, no, sorry, the Devoted Druid turn 2 from any random removal. It's going to shock himself. So this is probably a Devoted Druid.
It depends.
Oh, yes, it is. What was I expecting?
Wow, so
Oh.
talented.
Oh. And he leaves behind the Giver of Runes to protect the Devoted Druid. Wow. The classic. Oh, and that's Liliana's Triumph on Brian's hand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's the promo version.
So I think like the giver is less like strong in a matchup where there are so many like sacrifice effects.
Yeah, that's true. And that's okay. So I just noticed it now, but Felix got Brian to go first, which is I think
right.
I think,
okay.
quite
An
a
interesting strategy.
yeah.
Yeah, but okay. So in this situation, in the exact situation, Brian had the right cards to deal with that board.
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
the end step, Triumph of Liliana into Liliana of the Veil.
Yeah, so
Very powerful.
in that particular scenario, Felix allowing Brian to go first kind of bite him back.
Yeah.
But I
If
think
he had-
it's a legit strat though. You get them -1 card so they don't get the
I'm
1-1.
not
you
so
feel.
sure. I don't know. I think like anytime you compromise your own like strategy, the tempo is important.
Right,
Anytime
right.
you compromise your strategy to try and curtail your opponent's strategy, you're really giving him a leg up. That's my opinion.
That's true.
Um,
That's true.
I think that like in the history of Magic, there has been only a few formats where it actually made sense to go second, and that was like played out by the math, it was played out by the statistics. If I recall correctly, I think it's can't remember Onslaught Sealed or something like that.
Onslaught Sealed.
There's a sealed format essentially where it made sense to go second.
That sounds pretty cool actually.
Yeah, but
Going against the
I
laws of
mean
the game.
honestly, like it's now fairly streamlined, so I think like less of that will happen.
Right. Oh,
Okay, so Liana takes up. Both discard a card, and I think
Urborg. He discards Urborg.
let's see what he's got.
Okay, Smallpox.
Yeah, so this is very very powerful plays. Getting closer to the damage points, curtailing Felix's resources. It's a stranglehold now. He's lost a lot
pretty
of
much,
creatures.
pretty much.
Yep.
He discards the Liliana.
Yeah, that's an interesting play though. I don't know what's the last card in his hand. Oh, I guess it's
No, he has no cards.
yeah.
I actually would have liked attacking with the Mutavault there in overplaying the rack because at this point, Felix is a bit too overloaded in cards for the rack to actually mean anything in that particular point of time. What do you think?
I think getting it in play kind of makes sense. It puts pressure on Felix's decisions because every card he casts now is potentially damage. But yeah, Eternal Witness is a great card in this situation.
Ooh,
I
yeah,
think, like, it's
yeah.
one of the best cards to fight against Iraq.
Yeah, I think any card-
solutions.
Any card that is like 2-for-1, your opponent is pretty good against it, right?
Yeah, because they are really 1-for-1 trading.
Right.
And the Witness presents a little bit of a threat to Liliana, which is why it's interesting that he discarded Liliana. Because he eliminates the ability to make some plays.
Yeah, we should have just discarded the Silent Clearing. Okay, and he's gonna take back the Marsh Flats.
Okay.
He's gonna send back in his hand to let Liliana discard that.
It's gonna take down.
Oh,
Okay, so
no,
he has a
yeah.
blocker of the Muta Vault.
Okay.
He potentially can let the thing take damage. Is he attacking?
Is he gonna attack?
Oh,
Oh, he's
interesting.
No, he's
Oh,
tapping for
second.
Silent
Why
Clearing.
would he sack there? Oh, because he's a talented player. No, but yeah, I think that he tapped that wrong. He should have left the Mutavault up in case he wanted to block the Eternal Witness. Because I think that if he loses Liliana off the board, he has a problem.
Oh
Right? Yeah, exactly.
wow! Wait, no, it gets exalted. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow, that was exactly what Felix needed to remove the Liliana.
right. Yeah, so
Very
I think
timely.
that wasn't very tight by Brian. I think that Brian could have been tighter in that play.
Oh, and did he draw another rack? Okay, he's gonna attack with the.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, very cool.
Felix grabs his head.
Felix just oh no. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Well, he takes
6.
If he doesn't cast a spell,
He's gonna take 3 next turn. So I think, but he needs to. Yeah. Okay. I think Brian. Okay. I think he just skips his turn, right? Just passes the turn. So next turn he'll take.
he has to be able to block the Mutavault though. So I think
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
problem.
He can send the Eternal Witness towards the Mutavault on Brian's turn. Then he will be at 3 cards, so he won't take damage from the rack. But that's assuming Brian doesn't have anything to disrupt Felix and discard his hand, which will make him die from the rack. So I think he's probably looking up some rulings because Felix is like pretty new to this. Oh, shall I? Okay. Oh, he wanted to check if the rack actually. Okay. He wanted to check if the rack went through hexproof. So let me just refresh that. Okay.
Shall I? Okay, but our judge in training is on the scene, Keenan Sherwood.
Hmm. So here we're gonna see if the rack actually works. Wait, let's look at
Yeah,
the
you need the
errata.
Oracle text of the rack.
Gatherer. Okay.
It doesn't seem to.
Oh no, it goes past hexproof actually.
Yeah,
You choose the opposing player as the card enters the battlefield.
yeah.
And this does not target the player.
Okay, I'm gonna head out.
Okay, okay. The bro is gonna go and resolve the problem, or the. Okay, so Joe is solving the issue. So at this point, the rack has already chosen. The rack has already chosen the target, which is Felix, and that was when the rack resolved. So now at this point, Shalai will not have done anything. So actually, it's choose an opponent. So I don't even think the target part will be relevant if Shalai was in before the rack came in. So yeah, Brian Lim handily takes that one. Get wrecked. What 3 rack I call hex. Yeah, that's it rack pretty good against people who play this kind of value decks. I think Felix just didn't draw very well actually. Typically this Vizier decks they go off on turn 3 if Brian does not have anything. But Brian had a lot of disruption and Felix was pretty unfortunate to be unable to draw his combo on turn 3.
Well, anyway, I already told Brian that he luck sacked, and
Yeah.
he agreed that he luck sacked.
That was pretty lucksacky.
Yeah, it was pretty luck sacked.
now-
Yeah, and I think like Felix did his best. Like he exploited the mistake of Brian attacking with the Mutavault.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that if he had survived, if there wasn't a second rack, he would have been able to play around it.
Or the third rack.
Yeah. No, sorry, well, if there wasn't the third rack, I think he would still be able to survive.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate for Felix, but stay tuned for round 2 to do not go away.
The new modern.
The new modern, yeah, exactly. How do you feel about the ban list actually?
I think that it was definitely a right decision. I buy the logic of why Faithless Looting joined Hogak. I think that the unbanning of Stoneforge is interesting, but like with the unbanning of Jace,
Yeah.
will impact the format but will not tilt it. So I think that they're doing well with their reactions to it. I do like the fact that Wizards nowadays does not overreact. They take a little bit of time, they study the data before they make the decision. Hogak needed to get banned. It was too powerful.
Yeah, it was. They gave it time, but it never changed. It was
Yeah,
always there.
it warped the format. So I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
anything that does warp the format requires a little bit of attention. And I think that the decision to ban Faithless Looting along with it, while it hurt some periphery decks like like Phoenix's,
The dredge. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
your Phoenix deck.
I think ultimately it was the right call. They wanted to move away from graveyard strategies, and so it's in line with why they would unban Stoneforge Mystic.
Right.
Because they wanted to go back to more mid-rangey, more fair kind of play. It's good for Liliana. It's good for Tang.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's good for
definitely.
Jan. So it'll be great. I think that it'll be nice to see different strategies in Modern for a change.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been very boring. Well, I wouldn't say it's boring, but it was very expected, like what the top decks were in the past, like few
Fifth
months.
looting.
Yeah.
Phoenix. Hogak.
Yeah, I still think the Phoenix deck has potential.
Yeah, there are some replacements for the card people have been brewing.
It's difficult. I think that it's really hard to replace Faithless Looting, but I think also because of the ban in Faithless Looting, you dodge a little bit more of the graveyard hate or like the dedicated hate, incidental hate that you face because everybody else has Surgical Extractions being bought, Leyline of Sanctities, Leyline of the Void main boards.
Yeah, no, they don't.
You dodge a little bit of that. That being said, I don't think the Phoenix deck was ever really a graveyard deck. It was a thing in the Ice deck that had.
Yeah, you're right.
I like
I
Phoenix.
agree with that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like a Blue Moon deck, but with more win cons.
Call hacks.
God,
Chazix is Danny, right?
that's daddy.
Hey, Danny. Even online, you like to talk cock, huh?
Anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching. You can always catch more of our videos on YouTube, youtube.com/GreyOgreGames. If you're watching on YouTube, do catch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/GreyOgreGames. We stream every Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Singapore time, GMT +8. But do stay tuned to our Facebook as well, facebook.com/GreyOgreGames, as we will always have our event updates over there. As some Sundays, we have very special events, like day-long events. Like last Sunday, we had Eternal Weekend. Sorry, not Eternal Weekend. That's trademarked.
Yeah, it's like our Eternal Monthly.
Yeah, Eternal Month.
It's a legacy event. But yeah, I think it's all leading up to the end of Gogi. We're already in season 3.
Right.
We'll be publishing the the standings for QP from the start of season 3, which was we started on the 26th of August. And we'll start to look. I think like now you start to see some of the slots are solidifying, right? So like the masters, the format masters for the first 2 seasons are already locked, right? The winners as well as the runner-ups. And our QP leaders for each of the seasons are already starting to firm up. We know what the total QP picture looks like right now.
Right.
Currently being spearheaded by, I believe it's Kenneth Wong, and then Steven is following up.
Steven
No,
Villareza.
Steven is top in total QP. I was just
Whoa.
looking through the list just now. So,
Just by playing Legacy.
oh no, I mean I think Steven plays a lot of formats, right?
Oh, does he?
I think he plays Modern from time to time. But yeah, primarily Legacy, and I think a lot of it is that he did well in a series of our monthly Legacy tournaments.
Yeah.
He was second for one, and I think that he's second. He top 8'd a few, and I think that added a lot to his qualifying
I
points.
think he top rated like almost all of them actually.
Yeah, and Kenneth has done very well. He plays a lot of formats as well. So yeah, the race is going to start to heat up as it gets closer to the end of the season. And the lineup for Gogi starts to firm up. So that's what we're looking forward to. More news to come, and more features will follow as we confirm like certain attendance in the event.
Yes. And as always, if you want to find out more about Gogi 2019, do check us out on Facebook.
Yeah, there's an album on Facebook with like all the information, like what the format is, who qualifies, how do you qualify,
Some deck lists.
some of the deck lists, some of the player profiles. But it's not too late. The season has just started, like I said, so it started on the 26th.
You can always play you can always qualify for the next SQ, and you play that, and you can go in. So
Yep. And
not too
if,
late.
say for example, you want to specialize only in Legacy, or you only want to play Modern, you can get in through the Format Masters. If you're the top qualifying point getter for this season, you can qualify from the Format Masters. So we designed it in that way. We want to make sure that it's never too late to try and qualify for the Invitational.
Right.
And Invitational will be held next year, of course, a $5,000 prize pool.
And
That's-
I heard there's something else too.
Yeah, I think that it's airfare to American GP that we will be attending next year.
Right. Yes.
I mean, although the schedule is not out yet, so we'll get more details on that as it develops. We expect to get the first quarter GP schedule for next year. Probably, usually it's in October, November. So we'll probably have a better sense of like where we're going,
Mm.
and then from there we can start to provide some options. But anyway, I think it's just we're trying like foster a culture of competitive magic here.
Right, right, right.
And try and give our competitive players something to grind.
Yeah, I think the incentives that we are giving these people are very relevant. They're not small prizes. The cash money is very real, and the air flight as well. It's going to give a lot of people something to chase after, especially because a lot of people in Singapore do not have the privilege of going to America to play a GP sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that it's part of the experience. I think like we just came back from GP Vegas. And Vegas is probably the largest event
Yeah, yeah,
on a
it is.
year-to-year
It is.
basis.
It is.
It's at least the most like sought-after event. I mean, a lot of people go not just for the magic, but because Vegas is a beautiful city, with great food,
Right,
great
right.
entertainment. But that's part of it, you know. Like if you go to an American GP and you're playing an event, um, you're not just bound to that. You know, you can go sightseeing, you can see other things, you can see how they run a show in America. They've been doing it the longest. They're professionals. They know what they're doing. Channel Fireball Events has done an excellent job streamlining the way that the events are run. You have an opportunity to play in the command zone. Although I think the tweet just happened today where command zone is now going to be a thing at all Magic Fest. So
Oh, that's
I think
cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
even coming up in Magic Fest Bangkok, they're going to have the command zone. So yeah, I mean like, but all these are innovations that have come from CFB events and from running and then hearing the feedback from the players, getting those things and then running them in events across the world. You know, like John Salem, a friend of ours, just won the old school championship in GP Vegas. So
Oh,
that the old school championship as well, the old school tournament
right, right.
was an initiative that was ground driven. There was a lot of conversations with CFB about like, hey, can we run old school tournament? And they tried it, and it was successful. And then they continued to try it. And so now every event that they have, major event, we will get something akin to a old school championship. So yeah, I mean it's wider horizons. You know, like you play against like 2,000, 2,500 players, whereas like the last GP Singapore was like
Less than 1K.
I think it was 800 players, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's
Thereabouts. Oh, actually, it might have been less than that. It might have been
a bit.
600 players.
Yeah, Singapore has like a very small turnout. Had a very small turnout. I remember last time.
Yeah,
I was
the
goofing.
modern events are usually quite good, but the last GP Singapore that was in Singapore was a sealed event, and that was pretty rough.
Yeah, still events don't.
If my memory doesn't fail me, of course, you can tell me that my memory has failed me.
No, I don't think. I
uh,
don't think anyone will disagree with you. That's more
Yeah,
or less a
so
fact.
I think it'll be interesting. You know, go pick a nice GP to go to in a nice city like San Diego. Hopefully, there's Magic Fest San Diego next year, and then it's just a nice place to go visit.
Just an off-ball question: can they
Yeah.
pick Las Vegas?
It's possible. Yeah, I think it's possible, but
Okay,
we'll
okay.
see how long we want to defer the air ticket because I think
Okay,
that at
okay.
some point we want to have a resolution to Gogi 19.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, I think that we are open to it. If there's a Vegas, we'll definitely be going.
Last GP SG was standard. Okay.
The last GP was standard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Anyway, guys.
All Magic Fest except for APEC.
Oh, that's the old school one, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I think now they're gonna start running it in the Asia Pacific ones. Well, at least like the Australian ones.
Mm.
They're starting to run old school. They're running Sandpoint Highlander.
Oh, okay,
The
okay.
last, I think it was GP Sydney, the last one that we were in, they did a 50, 60 player Sandpoint Highlander event.
Decent amount, decent amount.
Yeah, and I mean, if for anybody who doesn't know what Sandpoint Highlander is, an interesting like format that they play a lot in Australia and New Zealand, and it's a form of Commander where there are certain points involved. Google it; it's a very very interesting format. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, he was referring to the command zone, not the old school. Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not sure about that, Danny. From what I heard from Hao is that it will start in Asia as well. So I think Bangkok will be the test, but I'm sure more information will be coming out soon.
Mm. And as always, guys, do stay tuned for round 2 and round 3. We'll be back after about 20 minutes time. Do not go away. See you guys in a bit.